I think he's done a great job on that Heroes event. I talked about it before the event, even going into it, that it's going to be such an important hero for this event, and I feel like I was right, and I just feel like I have to say it. Sulfurus is a hero that deals so much damage, and I think he functions very, very well against Warbeast. I'm not sure how does it interact between Pearl and Sulfurus. So if Sulfurus ulti someone and then Pearl ults, but Sulfurus is outside the ulti, I assume they don't drop down in HP, do they?
Well, it
I don't
depends.
think
I think
so.
if he casted it from outside of the ult, there might be an argument there. Once it's on, it's almost
Yeah.
like a curse effect. I mean, it
Are
doesn't
you sure
matter
that's
the
how it
damage
works?
source. I'm definitely not sure at all, but I can't imagine that you could just walk into a Pearl ultimate and it stops taking your health away.
All right.
I
Interesting, nonetheless.
I mean, we might see it come to play here, but that would be just so weird. Like,
Yeah.
imagine like a curse ground. You wouldn't walk in and just stop taking damage because it's already applied to you.
no, I get your argument. So that's why I was curious.
I don't know. So I'm not sure exactly what the Pearl. I mean, it's great counter to Pestilence. We know that it's a hero that has helped Sync and get here to the bracket. So Complexity may get some use out of it as well. But you can't take away from how powerful Warbeast is on what you got. This is going to be the third game in a row. We've seen him play a jungler.
Yep.
Rough start on Parasite. They got a win. Really rough time on Ophelia. Never really saw her get the full effect of what she does. But the Warbeast, I feel like that's one hero, no matter what, win or lose, he's usually on point with.
Yeah. No, I agree. So taking a more overall look at the draft, we see the Pestilence into the Pearl. This is a counter pick that's been used a lot in the NEU
Yep.
teams. I mean, Slap talked about it. You can purge away that sprint, which is a big part of what makes Pestilence good. Pestilence really likes to play around the fact that he can go in, stun, get out, and keep doing that, and that sprint is what enables him to do it. So Pearl probably going to be mainly using his Asphyxiate to get rid of that sprint, so keep your eyes out for that. Rhapsody in this game, I feel like, against Warbeast, it's pretty good, but Pearl, Hellbringer, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of an early Rhapsody pick. To me, it signals that, okay, we probably want to go something pushy, and if you look at the bans, it's actually Deadlift gets banned out, Defiler gets banned out, Drunken Doctor, Midas, and Puppet. I feel like we're almost taking a step back in our meta to looking at these bans. But yeah, no, I don't really like that Rhapsody pick too much, to be honest, but it's going to allow them to hide their two later picks, and maybe that's ultimately what they just wanted to do. They wanted to get a sport, which is pretty good all around. Lanes well with Pesty.
Yeah, it's definitely for the laning phase, and there's been so many times where Rhapsody ults change the pace of the game. It almost feels like it's a comfort pick for Serenia here in Thailand. It's something that they've had a lot of success with, and they'll be more than happy to, especially if they get a great start and they ends up pulling off like a portal key or a tablet, something early to really, really amp it up. That could be huge.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, if you get ahead with the Rhapsody, she's one of the best heroes to be ahead with. She gives you a lot of that pushing presence that you need in the team all by herself, because she keeps that creep wave alive with her dance floor. And versus this kind of like slow damage, which they have on Complexity, that dance floor is very high impact. But I just want to make the point that from what I've seen, Rhapsody has been struggling against this type of heroes, against that kind of Hellbringer with a huge AoE, the Pearl with a pushback. There's a lot of ways to just cancel that ultimate, right?
Okay.
And even the Thai teams, they always made a point of when they had a Warbeast against Rhapsody, the Warbeast would literally just run down the Rhapsody at the start of the fight. They wouldn't even wait for her to ulti. You would just go straight for her.
Okay, and yeah, she will drop very quickly at that point. Another worth noting here is we're going to see another Parasite pick. We know that watching a scrim earlier in the week, that doesn't necessarily mean that Zlapt will be playing the Parasite.
Oh yeah, most definitely not. They ran it on the suicide lane by Zibe,
Right.
and this is something they do when they feel like they can't lane there. Yeah,
it was very effective, and it was against a Warbeast, if I remember correctly, too.
They used it, so I think there were two arguments for why it was good that game. One of them was that they had a Puppet Master in the safe lane combined with Andromeda, which is a very hard lane for any suicide to go up against. But when you send a Parasite up there, he can spend most of his time in the enemy jungle, and they also had a Warbeast, which he was able to slow down a bit, steal some farm, interrupt his rotations in the jungle. So it was like two reasons for why it was so good that game.
Well, in this case, it's been Zlap playing Sulfurus almost every time. It really feels like it's a hero that enables him to do what he does best and make the game happen. Just take the wins. I feel like when I see him play it, I don't know how to describe it. Like, he's so determined. Like, I feel like Slap becomes Lord South Forest, goes into New Earth, and single-handedly takes the game. Obviously, there's a lot of team effort there, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if they swapped that off of him.
Yeah,
but
no,
this
I mean,
Dark Lady, they mean
yeah, it's
business.
an interesting pick. You know, I was just gonna say I kind of like Moon Queen again, but they opt for the Dark Lady. I'm not sure quite what is the trigger for them, why they feel like Dark Lady is great here. Normally, when I like Dark Lady, it's against heroes that you can just charge in on and instantly kill. And to be fair, the Pearl, Magmas, Hellbringer, they're very vulnerable to that kind of a thing. But I feel like if they had a Moon Queen, they could have played a very similar game to last game. They definitely have the possibility of setting the game pace in the early game. And we'll see. I would have liked the Moon Queen. I feel like that hero is very underrated, and people are not as used to playing against Moon Queen as they are against Dark Lady. And that's a big thing at LAN events. If you're confident with a hero that nobody else knows how to play against, that's a big X factor that you have over everybody else.
Absolutely. That's why coming to an international event, anything can happen. We're going to see in this time NAAU teams giving it their all here, the last shot for one of these guys to make it to the World Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be as excited as I am to see how this one turns out. We'll see Zibby most likely suiciding on the Parasite and dabbling a little bit into the opposing enemy's jungle, trying to harass out the War Beast. In the middle lane, it's going to be Pestilence up against most likely a Hellbringer here, played by Fuzzy Sloth.
Yeah, so if you're Sync Esports, you have two different decisions to make here. Do you want to start off with the Parasite close to the middle lane and try to make a rotation early on this Hellbringer and potentially get a first blood using that Rhapsody as well? Because I feel like if you do that, that's a great way to start a game off. The second thing they could do is put that Rhapsody down bottom and try to help Dark Lady zone out the Magmas. But in that case, I feel like Parasite has less of a place in this game. He's just going to sit top and try to get experience, try to steal some camps.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm really curious what they decide to do here, because I think they have a lot of options. And generally, lineups where you have a lot of options tend to be the hardest to read. And when you can't read what your opponent's doing, generally going to result in a good play from you.
So.
But look at this. Are they running a dual lane top?
I'm not sure. I mean, for now, yeah. There's obviously two players up here. So.
Oh wow! Is this a slap mid South Forest with a dual lane off lane? This is very smart. They're abusing the fact that Pearl isn't the strongest laner, and they're gonna send Pestilence up top, knowing that he's gonna farm quite well. There's no gank presence from a War Beast either, so they're gonna slow down Madman, allow Dark Lady to be in a 1 versus 1 lane with the potential support of a Parasite, and have Slap match up against the Hellbringer. These are very good lane matchups for Sync Esports.
Yeah.
South Forest with that life tap, not going to drop down to the harassment of Hellbringer. Up top, they're both going to farm, but ultimately that's all that you want out of your Pestilence anyways, and they're going to prevent Formless from free farming. So it's now Complexity, they're in a position where they need to respond to this aggressive play by Sync. Dude, it looks like they're going to rotate Pearl towards the bottom lane, but I just feel like this is such a great punish for a Pearl pick. And one of the reasons Pearl might not have been as popular in the past is that she was a very weak laner. She doesn't deal a lot of damage, doesn't offer any crowd control, as she's just going to go mid and try to harass out Slap, but I don't think this is a hero that they can force out of lane.
I don't know about that. I mean, yes, he's probably the hardest of heroes. With the life tap, he's going to be constantly regenerating, but Hellbringer does put out a lot of damage, and this ensures that Fuzzy Sloth's going to get something. He's always the focus. Whenever Fuzzy plays Hellbringer, I feel like he's the focus. He's such an easy hero to gank. You know, you got one Q spell maybe to save your life. And I think that, you know, they're going to prioritize at least getting him to level 6, you know, in some way, shape, or form.
All right, so I hear what you're saying, but from my point of view, it's just going to be Sync is going to be farming on 4 different heroes. And I feel like if their lineup takes off, it's going to be very hard for Complexity to fight them, at least up until the later points in the game where War Beast and Madman both have their bashers.
Well, I think Magmus can win this bottom lane here. So, I mean, well, Complexity will be farming on 3.
So I don't think it's like I don't necessarily feel like Dark Lady's gonna win bottom, but I feel like there's no way Magmus is gonna prevent her from farming enough gold that from farming. Like she's gonna get the kind of gold that she wants out of that lane. Same thing goes for Pestilence top, and I think the same thing's gonna go for the Lord South Forest mid. They're gonna get enough in every place, and if Zib is comfortable jungling that Parasite, they're gonna have a 4th farm hero too. But it looks like he's gonna make a rotation to the middle lane. Oscar actually has a Word of Revelation, so they know exactly what is happening. as Zib is rotating in from behind onto Pearl, who also has a Word of Revelation on her. Zib actually just going to continue all the way up into the Hellborn jungle. This is a smart rotation by him. He's going to not only keep on farming, but also pressure what you got. I like this play a lot.
Yeah, and this is what we saw. It's a very strong effect of running a Parasite against another enemy jungler here. You can slow them down, and we said it before, you mess up the rhythm of some of these junglers and it can completely change the outcome of the game. They're definitely relying on Warbeast getting farmed too, but
yeah, if you open up the gold per minute charts, you can tell that 3 of the sync heroes are doing really, really well, and so are 3 of the complexity heroes. So overall, a lot of farm going around, a lot of even lane matchups where nobody really is zoning out the other one. Very different from the last game where you saw both offlaners were completely zoned out of their lanes and forced to rotate to that middle lane. So this is going to be a game with a lot more resources in it.
yeah, it's a pretty interesting lineup here, or way that they chose to lane it. So they are starting to do more and more damage to this Lord South Forest here, and Fuzzy does, put 2 points into the demonic wave usually.
Yep. Another advantage of running that Parasite in the aggressive jungle now is that Slap is going to have his own jungle to rotate back to. And you know how fast of a jungler Slap is on a hero like South Forest? You're adding some bonus lane experience to him now, and he's going to do even better. So overall, I like these decisions out of sync. I feel like whatever they're doing, they're really trying to control as much farm as possible on the map and make sure that they're farming on as many heroes as possible. And I feel like their problem when they lose a lot of the time is that they don't get items on all across the board. It's just focused on certain heroes in specific. But generally, when they all get farm, it usually ends up pretty well for them.
All right, and so, I mean, you think if Sync's comfortable with this, they'll just continue to farm in these positions?
Yeah, like,
they're not going to attempt any kind of ganks or anything like that? Or?
I mean, they probably are. Ganking is a part of the game. You need to pressure the enemy team to prevent them from farming, but
I mean,
what I'm saying is,
why change things? If Complexity is going to get out farmed slowly but surely, why gank and make them rotate and change things
the
up?
thing, it's not like Complexity's not going to move unless you start moving. They're still going to start changing things that they feel like what they're doing isn't leading to their advantage. But I think the point I wanted to make was that Complexity, they're a team that does better in general when there's less gold overall in the game. When you're shutting down that one lane, when there's more underleveled heroes, when they can rely on that one carry in Formless to deal most of the damage. But in a game like this, with a lot of heroes are getting farm across the board, I feel like it definitely favors Sync. So,
well, the stats are pretty much even so far here, but only time will tell. At the very least, it's something that, Oscar never gets farmed. So farm onto him is going to, maybe be very helpful for Complexity. That's something that they're not used to either. But he gets a very early Steam Boots.
And Slap actually going to find himself a regeneration rune, exactly the rune he needed in this situation. Brings him back up to full HP. This is one of the most frustrating runes that you can go up against as a dual lane mid when you've been putting a lot of mana and regen into zoning him out. Now he's back with full HP, full mana.
A jump onto Warbeast up here in the top lane. Madman's going to come in and try to stalk things up. They might get a counter killer onto Rhapsody since Hellbringer is nearby, which they will get. Will they get another one onto Parasite's the question, but no. Slap rotating over. Even without boots, still scary enough to push Fuzzy Sloth out of there. And it's a 1-for-1 exchange, but one that you'll take any day of the week if you are Sync Sports.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're happy with that. They got the first blood, and even though overall the gold went to Zibe, he's playing in this aggressive jungle. This is going to enable him to keep being up here easier. So overall, very good for them.
Dark Lady getting lower here. But I think I like what they've done here. Maybe they can mix it up as soon as Hellbringer gets 6, but Hellbringer would have gotten really starved. Oh, the top lane here. They're going to dive on a Madman. The Pestilence gets a Gore proc off. No, he doesn't. There's just the Impale. Oh, Staccato is what I saw. Okay, so they rotate 3 and they finish off Formless here. So
yeah, Formless is definitely struggling up in the top lane. I've seen in the past they like to run this Madman against these long lanes, and generally he does very, very well. Before that death, he was farming extremely well in that lane, but after going down like that, you gotta feel bad for him.
Yeah, and Madman's usually a hero who's pretty damn good at escaping, but I can't say that Formless is used to sitting at 150 gold per minute either, so they might keep the pressure up here. Serenia's Ward of Sight. We'll see him again.
Yeah.
Jumps into that Stealth Hunter, and
Nice play there from Zibe. Gonna prevent that pull from happening, and by doing
that
so,
was beautiful, yeah.
yeah, by doing so, he's also preventing Formless from being able to stay up in the top lane. Sentry ward being placed by Love. But yeah, overall, I just like the state of game for.
I got to agree. Now that Sync's made some powerful rotations, it's definitely looking really good for them. They're not playing as passive as I thought is what you were saying. So that's very nice. But again, I think that Hellbringer and Magnus are going to be doing some great things very soon, and that's, well, Complexity definitely has to count on that because they're not getting anything else.
Yeah, I feel like for Complexity, they need to kind of break this position that Sync have.
Jumping in here on a Dark Lady, but he didn't know a rotation came out by Rhapsody. And Oscar's going to get punished here. That's a big chunk of gold, too, for Haxford.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, Formless is actually dropping very low to the Undying of Slap. But is it going to kill him? Oh, he uses the barrel roll to stay alive. What a fantastic play from Formless. This guy, first the Mage Bane, now the Madman. That was massive.
Yeah. You got to try, but he got lucky, man. That took him down to 3 HP.
Yeah, huge plays.
All right. So, I mean, it's looking really strong for Sync right now. Complexity's got to start brainstorming as to what they're going to do to change the pace of the game, get some momentum back in their favor.
So
Magnus is going to be teleporting up here to the top lane, and I think he needs to group up with Fuzzy right now. I mean, there's nobody they can't kill with an Eruption Malphus.
I agree. The advantage that Complexity's lineup has over Sync is that they have that early push presence. If they can get one pick off, and with or without committing the Malphus, they have an easy time taking out a tower. So what I would like to see here is have Hellbringer and Magnus rotate in together, try to set up for play, as Pearl's going to get caught up top.
Magnus going to instantly start channeling that Lava Surge. He gets a lot of damage off. Parasite jumps into a Magic Key unit, and Parasite, I mean, Pestilence able to Portal Key out. So another huge play by Zippy. I mean, he happened to just check, praying that, or he knew there was a Wild Hunter there or not. In the middle lane, Fuzzy Sloth will group up with What You Got and get a kill on his lap.
Yeah, great kill on his lap, but I don't like this play from What You Got. He's going to fall back into the jungle and start farming instead of pressuring that middle lane tower. They've committed Malphus for this. Magnus was rotating in. I feel like they easily could have gone for that tower. With slapping down, they knew Mick could TP back to base, and Zibbit was out of resources. It's not like Darkseid's going to rotate.
Yeah, you got to start taking objectives here just to get that gold flowing on the rest of your teammates. Everybody else here is starving. Formless needs some kind of hope. He doesn't even have boots yet. Okay, he finally picks up red boots here, but you know what I mean? It's just, and the middle tower is so impactful too.
Yeah, most certainly. And Formless forced to use a TP to just TP back to his tier 1 tower here. And the resources are going heavily in the way of Sync right now. Malphus is down, so if you're Sync, you want to look to maybe taking out a tower here. I would like to see Pestilence push out that top lane. He's closing it on his blink, so he's pretty happy with just farming it. But rotate up Serenia top, start pressuring that tower, force Complexity to rotate heroes up there or give that tier 1 up. I'm pretty sure they would just give it up if Sync went for a push right now.
Oh, this is something we see it from time to time, but very rarely on What You Got. Goes for the Alchemist Bones on a War Beast. You know, makes sense against the Parasite, but also some kind of, maybe something to help him get back into this game, because this is pretty rough going for him, the amount of, you know, annoyance that this Parasite's been.
Yeah, I think it's a fine item in this game, but it might be a little bit greedy. The thing with Alchemist on a War Beast is that it actually enables him to deal so much damage that it's actually quite fine. When he goes into that ultimate form and he gets that crit, it's like, it's a great farming tool, but it's also dealing a lot of damage if you really utilize it in the early game.
Yeah, good attack speed. So he will return to the jungle here. Formless just struggling to get to even that level 8. Oh, he does. He disjointed the swarm with his barrel roll, even though Pearl could have just asphyxiated it off of him.
That's actually a very good point too. Pearl can remove. I assume she can remove dust as well.
Yeah.
It should be a purgeable ability. Yeah, so that's actually a pretty good combination of heroes to have later on in the game. You can really save that Madman from most types of Revelation, and then suddenly the invisibility is working as some sort of invulnerability, to be honest.
Hellbringer is going to get swarmed on here in mid. Look at him going for the instant Void Talisman against the, the physical stun of Pestilence, but I don't know about that either.
Oh, I like it, but Zibe.
Oh, he is going to have to be forced to use the Malphus to keep himself alive here. puts out a Q spell off onto Minotaur, but nothing really will come of it. And I think Sync's okay with that. If they can bait out a defensive Malphus time and time again.
Yeah, so now they have an opening. They've set this game up for themselves, so at this time, there is a possibility for them to make a play happen. They have these 140 seconds to potentially go for one of those towers, and I would like to see them abuse this. Last time it happened, they did not, as Warbeast is going to pop his ultimate, chase after Parasite, but nothing's going to come out. Nothing's going to come off out of that one either.
Yeah, it's tough for him at this point, even because if he dives too deep and the Metamorphosis just dies, he has no red boots. He'll kind of be stuck in no man's land without a TP even. But Dark Lady cleans up the bottom tower here. That's probably going to be her Ruined Cleaver very, very soon.
Yeah, I like to see that play from him. The ultimates are down. They need to start pressuring objectives, and getting that tier 1 tower is a big deal. Now up top, they have a fully healthy tier 1 tower, and this one, normally when it gets around this point in the game, it gets much, much harder to push that tier 1, because Sync can easily defend it. And look at Serenia. Haxorn's 400 gold off of his Rune Cleaver. He's already stacking those Ancients. I actually messed up the timing this time, but it's a thought that counts. The mentality is right.
Yeah. Like getting ready to transition to that next phase of the game.
Yeah, Pestilence has his blink. They're going to make a dive here, it looks like, but no. Just going to secure this tower. Hellbringer ulti still down for 70 seconds. And Warbeast ult as well for 15.
I mean, there's just so much more that Complexity could be doing right now to deal with this. And it's on multiple facets. The Dark Lady is just going to be snowballing out of control, and they have nothing positive going for them. And I got to put the pressure on Oscar here. It's up to him to really make a play. He's the only one who had decent success early game. This is when you expect your Suicide player to, well, we suffered in the other lanes. What can you bring to the table?
Yeah, I feel like this is also one of the downsides to their draft. They have the possibility of taking a lot of tower kills if they get a pick-off with their ultimates, but if they cannot find those pick-offs with their ultimates, if they're forced to use their ultimates defensively, then a lot of the firepower from their draft falls off. So Mickey here actually going to stack the Ancients, playing the role of a support and a mid laner at the same time.
Such teamwork.
Yeah, and now it looks like Complexity are manning up for a top tower push.
Well, that could definitely help get things moving in the right direction here. But it looks like Sync's more than happy to kind of just trade off this tier 1 mid, maybe even pressure the tier 2. Nope, they're actually going to pour top. And
yeah, so they're both preventing that push and taking the tier 1 mid.
Not giving up any towers here at this point in the game.
And it's most definitely the right decision for them. They're going to triple stack the Ancients now. Look at where Haxorn is on the map. This is actually perfect timing for him. He's going to come over right about when the Ancients get triple stacked. So, going to farm this out. As soon as he has it, I just hope he goes for that Abyssal Skull. I feel like it's a great item this game. There's a lot of physical damage coming out of Complexity. And not only does it benefit himself, but it also benefits South Forest as well as Mickey. And how are they... This is the second time they messed up a stack on the Ancients. They actually think it's rewarded, but it's just them doing it wrong. That's very interesting to me.
I missed it. That is strange.
Yeah, that
Hopefully he doesn't buy another counter ward here.
I mean, he might.
Well, I mean, he has one, but he didn't use it over there.
Yeah.
They've got to know that they were able to stack it once. So I guess it just happens. But look at this. I mean, Pestilence already got his portal key. I mean, did Zivy sell the Codex? Like, that was a troll, right?
I think he might have just bought the recipe and then he sold it.
Okay.
But I do expect him to go for a puzzle box. Codex is definitely actually not bad in this game, especially with Hellbringer buying that Void Talisman.
Right.
He could probably even solo kill him with an ability from Slap, so...
Yeah, that could be huge. I'm not too keen on the Void Talisman, honestly.
I think it's a good item this game, though. Yeah, but it provides a lot of good stats. If you look at the
Magnus channeling that Eruption Lava Surge combo down on the Parasite, but look how early they use the Malphus. And now just like that, if they can back out here, no, Magnus will call it Impale and Stun, and the Legion team will clean up here. The only one that's going to get it with Hellbringer, and...
Yeah, so a mass teleport from Sync. I don't like this decision. I think they over-TP'd. They're going to lose this tier 1 top tower due to the fact that they have no TPs. Hopefully they can push this tier 2 in the bottom lane in exchange, knowing that Malphus is down and Magnus is not up and does not have Eruption off cooldown. So it's going to be a 1-for-1 tower trade, but obviously they're taking a tier 2 for a tier 1.
Middle lane, Pessie's going hand here on the Pearl. You can see her trying to kite in and out of her ultimate, but she is now officially out of mana, and with no boots, it's only a matter of time before Pestilence closes the gap here. Ultimately, you see Hellbringer coming in to save the day, though. Very nice rotation here by Fuzzy Slob. Well, now Foremost coming to join the party too, but with that level 4 stock, level 4 flight, he's going to get away just fine here.
Yeah, and Sync are still on that bottom tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they
Hax
stayed on it the whole time. Wow.
It actually looks like Hax is going for a Shrunken Head. Or do you think he's maybe building the Frostburn? I just don't see why you would buy the Ice Brand first if you're going for Frostburn.
Maybe just for a little bit more survivability, anticipating team fights with the Malphus every 80 seconds or something. I'm not sure.
To be fair, Haxorn is known to do this on heroes like Soul Stealer, where he buys that Ogre Club
Just
and then he doesn't do anything with it. Yeah,
I've seen that before too.
So that might be the case. I definitely hope it is. I really want to see that Abyssal Skull. I feel like people are underestimating the power of this item so much. And it's not only what it does for himself, but also for his teammates.
Oh yeah, but I mean, couldn't somebody else even like Pestilence pick that up or something?
I mean, they could, but the thing is, if he buys it right now, it's such a huge teamfight item for them, and I feel like they have the resources to go take those tier 1 towers, take that top tier 1 tower, set up the ward control again. I feel like they're playing this a little bit too passively, and I would like to see Mickey farming a bit more instead of roaming around so much looking for pickoffs.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be against it right now. It would definitely help them, and I agree that Sync has nice momentum right now. There's no reason to not do it, especially as soon as you see the Malphus down, there's no reason not to.
Yep, but this does look like it's a Shrunken Head for Dark Lady as his first item after Enclaver. I don't like this at all. The signal it's sending to me is that we're scared or we want to force a fight, and we don't feel like we can take it unless Dark Lady has a Shrunken. And I severely disagree with either of those reasonings. I feel like actually if he does go for that Shrunken Head, it's one of those item pickups that really benefit Complexity. It's one of the worst items I feel like he could get at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a good amount of magic damage coming out this early, but I mean, I guess you could say that he could ultimately avoid fighting completely. But if he survives the Malphus Magnus Eruption, then he probably can start cleaning up already in fights. Or do you think they just lack enough damage so far?
No, so the reason I dislike the Shrunken Head is I feel like they're so far ahead that they are setting the game pace right now. It's going to be what does Sync want to do. Whatever Sync wants to do is what Complexity needs to respond to. So they get to decide when they want to take that fight ultimately. And at this point, Dark Lady could just get more farming tools and make sure that she farms even faster than what she is doing right now. And by picking up a Shrunken Head, she's not enabling herself to farm faster than what she's doing. It's showing signs of fear to me. Unless they want to go force a team fight right now. Which I doubt.
Yeah, I would like that. I'd love to see a team fight happen right now.
All right, it looks like they feel ready to go, but Complexity, they're going to trade that tier 1.
Talisman picked up onto Magnus this time. Are this directly to counter? I mean,
it's good against both Pestilence and the Dark Lady. I think the only magic damage coming out of Sync is Lord Self-Lord and Parasite.
It's true, those heroes still get a lot of impact off because they're not, they don't auto attack very often.
Oh, those huge.
Oh, what happened here? Peril's gonna get caught out, and now Hellbringer goes down too. No ultimate coming out in the background. Rhapsody will die eventually. But here's Magnus channeling the eruption. He gets a lava surge off. Pestilence gets annihilated here. Now Parasite's left to stand by himself. Looks like he was going to attempt to infest the Hellhound here. But that's pretty nice. We saw a buyback by Fuzzy there.
Yeah, it was definitely a needed buyback. If he didn't buy back there, Dark Lady was ready to charge in. And you saw the Shrunken Head. She popped it and went in. And of course, it keeps him alive. But I just feel like this is not, they're not ready to force these fights. I feel like Complexity just got a lot of experience back to their side. And they're going to get a tier 1 tower on top of this. This was a very good trade for Complexity.
I didn't see Self-Force in that fight either. I don't know where he was.
I do believe he was... Actually, I'm not sure either. I wasn't paying attention to it.
Because I know they jumped onto Pearl, instantly killed Pearl, then instantly killed Fuzzy. So it immediately should have been a 5 versus 3.
Correct.
Then all I saw was just never saw Dark Lady after the fact that they got those kills.
Yeah, and Dark Lady popped the Shrunken Head and charged onto those 2 heroes, and it honestly did nothing in that team fight. Do you hear how opposed I am to this item? I very rarely like to stay on this so much, but I just feel like in this game...
Well, I mean, right there, they still have the gold lead, but definitely a little bit of a momentum shift here and some breathing room for a Hellborn team.
Yeah, and if you look at Complexity's items, all they really need to do at this point is survive. They need to get out of this phase of the game, get to a later stage.
I would explain the Void Talisman builds here.
Yeah, because they have bought so much greed. They bought a Rune Cleaver on the Madman.
I mean, it looks like they're trying to take another fight here.
Yeah, I think Flink Esports, they need to slow the game pace down right now and just try to farm. The way the game is being played out, I feel definitely favors Complexity. Sync are very hungry for kills, and they're not finding them. Complexity are just playing this very smart, making sure they don't die. And really, the only hero that's farming for Sync right now is Hax. I talked about how much I like it when they spread the farm out over everyone. But at the moment, it's not happening.
Yeah, it is pretty much one-sided here on the Legion side. I will say, though, we're getting to that point. You know, the Portal Key on Pestilence soon to have his own Shrunken Head. And everything that they have as their itemization, it screams team fight. So you can see, I see why, you know, maybe it was Lap's decision to get the Shrunken Head. If they want to pressure things.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's Haxorn's fault. Usually item decisions are made as a team. It's just, and it's very easy to sit here as a spectator and say, well, you have map control, you have game pace control, why are you doing this? But either way.
Oh, he did buy a Codex, too, on Parasite here.
Right, he actually used that in the last fight to burst down that Hellbringer and secure the kill on him. But I feel like if the game keeps going the way it is, this is going to benefit Complexity. They are building the right items to take this game into the late game, as Magnus is going to blink catch to Rhapsody. But there's no real follow-up here. Can they cancel it?
Oh, the Valvis ultimate is going to be used to finish off Rhapsody, though she is getting a bit out of the way now. The Asphyxiate Explosion will finish her off here. At the same time, the top tower will fall to the creep wave, though. No deny attempt there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sync is happy with that. As they're chasing the Madman.
And Madman was right on top of that. Oh, no. It's just the socket expired, and now he has the Swarm on him. He won't be able to hide. Over to the side, Magnus being sieged on. No, it's ultimately now to turn onto the Dark Lady. She's going to be forced. She hasn't used her Shrunken Head yet. Now we see it popped out, and that's a pretty early Shrunken. Now down to 8 charges in the bottom lane. Madman this whole time still going strong up against Pestilence, but he's being chased by Lord Soul, Force, and Parasite. That's a good amount of burst there.
Yeah, so they do get that Madman kill. Dark Lady makes it out of there, forced to use the Shrunken Charge. And it's honestly not the biggest deal, especially since she can just rebuy that Shrunken later on in the game. And if the Shrunken is going to allow her to farm more aggressively, then maybe that Shrunken is filling the role that I would have liked for a Firebrand to do, or a Abyssal Skull potentially.
Yeah, I don't know. If I'm Complexity right now, I think every time I get my ultimates, I look for something.
I don't think they need to. I feel like they don't need to. Earlier in the game, they definitely had that advantage, but right now, if the game pace keeps going on the way it is, Warbeast is farming extremely well. You cannot forget about this guy. He's sitting at 460 GPM, and that is only increasing. Haxorn's been at 600 GPM for the last... Oh, Zibit very close to getting a pick off, but...
Really? You think you pick off Warbeast for full health?
Actually, you know what? You're right. There's no way he could have gotten that. Scare factor.
Well... I mean, yeah, it definitely forced out the Metamorphosis. That was an interesting play.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those moments where you pink PK and blind, and you're kind of just like, oh, hi.
Yeah. So Warbeast, it looks like he's going for that Shrunken Head now after that Basher. This is a great tool for Warbeast to have against the Dark Lady. He can just basically, similar to the last game where you had Slap just... I mean, to the first game when you had Slap just sit on Formless Mage Bane, if the Warbeast can get enough damage, he is one of the greatest heroes to deal with hard carries, because he can just man up on most of them, and there's not really a lot of carries that can man fight him. Yeah, especially not the Dark Lady after the Dark Ladies are down.
That's one of the reasons I was thinking maybe they didn't go with the Moon Queen, because a Warbeast might have been able to do it. Dark Lady a little bit more tanky, has the E if things get too hairy, but I feel like Warbeast is really strong right now. He's almost level 16. He's really high level compared to almost everybody else in the game. And, you know, there's a lot of lockdown already on this team.
So I feel like Complexity's lineup really comes online once they have the Refresher Stone on their Hellbringer. They need that second ultimate so they are able to initiate with a Hellbringer ultimate, then save the second one to really change that fight. And up top, Haxorn's very deep. Oscar's actually just going to TP out, not going to look to go for that pickoff.
Yeah, he was getting pursued by Pestilence, but he did a nice job slipping off into the woods.
Yeah, and both teams really content with farming right now. Sync Esports has a small lead, but it's very insignificant at this point. If you bring up the total resources gained by both teams, there's really just pretty much no difference. If you look at the items, it says 4,000 gold, 2,000 experience, but you really can't. There are no like impactful level differences between the teams or item differences.
Yeah. Dark Lady, I mean, she's looking strong too. It's just, I don't know. I know you're saying that complexity can wait, but I feel like they shouldn't. Really, what would Sync do if they just rolled up with Magnus, Hellbringer, and Warbeast on even 2 or 3 heroes? They're gonna instantly kill 1 or 2.
I feel like they have a good base defense. Like, I mean, if Complexity's pushing into Sync, they're giving up a lot of the power of their lineup because it's so hard to go into the force fights at the base or at their towers when they have like the vision advantage. When you're the team that's pushing into the other team, you're allowing the team that's defending to see you and see your positioning and have that vision on you, and they always will get the initiation. The team that's pushing a tower rarely has the ability to initiate on the team that's defending. So that's like the big defender's advantage, and if Complexity were to go push right now, they would give that up.
Yeah,
and I feel like their lineup relies on it.
Just find a pick off, just something. Because I hate to see these huge ultimates sitting on cooldown. It hurts my soul.
I think they're just happy. They're fine with farming. They're like, all right, if we get resto and we can just play the base defense game, we're going to be farming more than the enemy team because we have an Alkbone, and our Madman's going to start catching up to the Dark Lady. Sure, she has a head start, but eventually I'm going to get there too. So for them, I think it's just about dragging this game out as much as possible to enable their farming tools to be as effective as possible.
Well, it looks like they agree because once again they do disperse, completely teleporting out on the map, take out these lanes that are pushed up and farm. So they're getting very close to that restoration stone though. So
yeah, and if you look at Sync, they spent about like 10 minutes or so less, like 7 minutes or so, just roaming around trying to find pickoffs, and now Mick is falling into farm mode. And he's really not that farmed. He doesn't have that many items. He's sitting at 340 GPM. Sure, Haxorn's doing great, but the same thing goes for Slap. These guys are both doing so well in the early game, but now they've really slowed down.
I can see what you're saying there. So yeah, I mean, Complexity essentially got herself back in this game by playing a little bit safer, and it's punishing the Sync esports who well, they're now reverting back into farm mode, so is there no better time to catch them off guard?
But if you just look at the positioning of the heroes on the minimap, Complexity, they're farming 2 places at once. Sync, they're very clumped up together, not really confident to split up and farm all across the map the same way that Complexity are. Complexity is indirectly setting the pace right now by their aggressive farming.
Wow, Harkon's picked up by Dark Lady.
Very interesting pickup. I like it though, versus all these Void Talismans. It's going to allow him to just eat these heroes up. And
with the Harkon's Blade, will your Charging Strike still connect as well?
I do believe so, because the Charging Strikes, it just applies an auto attack to everything you charge through, so.
Okay.
I wonder how it works with mana though, because I do believe you lose 75 mana every time you auto attack with Harkon's Blade.
And it says you instantly attack enemy pass.
Yeah, but the Harkon's Blade, I do believe you remove 75 mana every time you attack. How would that work with the Charging Strikes?
Ooh, bottom lane here. Magnus going to be forced to use that Void Talisman. I don't think that it drains the mana because if she Harkon's Blade through a creep wave, she'd be dead. Her mana would be drained.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't think it works with it.
All right. So a bit hard to tell from the wording in the text, but I've actually never seen it happen, so it'll be interesting to see how it actually interacts. Warbeast finishing up his Shrunken Head. Complexity, they're getting close to that.
Being that it's an attack modifier, I really don't think that it would actually affect her E ability.
All right.
But nevertheless, it's more of a positioning tool at this point.
Yeah, Restoration Stone soon finished. Madman's also starting to work on a Shrunken Head. I think for Sync right now, you really gotta start trying to get those lanes in your favor. If 2 lanes are constantly pushing into your side, it allows Complexity to farm so much more map space than they are. And if you look at the experience, what used to be like a 3K lead is now almost evened up.
Yeah, they've gotten back into this game here, without a doubt.
And though the resource lead is like 4,000 gold, at this point, if the resource lead isn't increasing, it's a bad sign for you. That means that the enemy team is sort of coming back. And I said this in the last cast, and I'm saying it again because it's just if it's constantly 4K gold lead, then you're not getting more ahead. You're not using your advantage.
Top secret Kongor happening over here.
Yeah, DD Rune, straight into Kongor.
Yeah, Complexity definitely knows it's happening, but I don't think that I don't see why they don't fight here, but
No, I think they will. Sync are so afraid. Look at how slowly they're taking this.
I'm saying, why aren't help? Yeah, why wouldn't Complexity take this fight here?
So for Complexity, it's a question of the mid lane is so pushed in that they can't just run straight past the creep wave. Sync would see all of their movements, and with vision over their movements, they would have the initiation factor again. And in a game like this, that matters so much.
Well, just like that, they're going to have to deal with a token now onto the Dark Lady. And it's going to be that much harder to deal with.
Yeah, and I feel like now Sync has a window for a little while where they have the advantage over Complexity. Once that Shrunken Head on Madman gets finished up, once he picks up a Basher, I think this, and potentially a Demonic Breastplate on the Warbeast, I think this is going to be a very difficult game for that Dark Lady. But up until those items are completed, I feel like Sync still has the advantage in the game.
I think the Restoration Stone is done in 10 more gold.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
He has that Arcana in base.
So what will Warbeast be building into next?
Warbeast, I personally would like to see a Demonic Breastplate. There's so much negative armor coming out of Sync. I am aware that there is a Harkon's Blade on Dark Lady, but the attack speed from the Demonic combined with a Basher actually works so well with each other. Even though he has, you could make the argument that he has Alchemist Bones, so the attack speed might not be necessary. But I'm just not sure what else you would buy at this point on a Warbeast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big jump.
Actually, you know what? I kind of like Frostwolf Skull.
Bulking up a bit. It looks like they're putting some pressure into the tower using that token. Magnus, again, doesn't have a Void, a Veiled Rod or anything to allow himself to get in good positioning here, but...
Yeah, and Sync playing the siege. They should have the Dark Lady hitting the tower with Slap standing on an opposite side. Sternia just poking with that dance floor, exactly like he
PK
is.
stun in by Magnus, trying to mix things up a bit, trying to create that window of opportunity. They put a little harassment also into the Dark Lady. But you can see she is pretty much fearless, knows that she has that 8-second trucking on top of the token. Madman will stuck in here. Ultimately, not overextend. He's got a couple of illusions in base. I'm surprised he's not, you know, throwing that out there. Maybe try to cause a false initiation or something. You can easily bait Sync into jumping onto an illusion at this part. Oh, Dark Lady
that damage from the Dark Lady.
It did so much here.
And Complexity are so afraid. I feel like they could just take down this Dark Lady if they initiate with the Magmas, have the Madman throw some spells at him. They need to be more aggressive on that high ground. They don't need to really commit for that kill. They just need to harass her down, force her down on low HP. Sure, they have the Rhapsody heal to heal him back up, but it's still going to take a while. And they need to really slow down this push. She still has 2 minutes left on the token. I love this play from Sync. I think this is the best way for them to abuse the opening that they have.
Well, they get the early barracks now, and that's going to be something else for Hellborn team to worry about. And I mean, this is almost like why I wanted them to do something 5, 6, 7 minutes ago when there was nothing really Sync could have done. I understand that, you know, you didn't want them to push, and it's hard to initiate when you're the pushing team, but they have the tools. Now they have the double Hellbringer ultimate, though, so...
Yeah, I feel like giving up that Conquer was so crucial, and that double damage rune was a big part in why Sync was able to even go for the Conquer to start with.
Conquer is like, look at this draft. Where do you want to fight? Conquer pit.
Yeah, no, they definitely have a strong Conquer defending team. Just the preparation from Sync there, pushing out the lane, making sure that, you know, you can't get to the Conquer pit without revealing yourself or giving up your advantage.
True.
In terms of initiation. So the prep work was there. They played it slow. They were playing it very safe, and it ended up in their favor. But now the prep work is in favor of Complexity. They're positioning
Magnus
themselves.
channeling that eruption. Here it comes. He's going to Lava Surge in onto the Dark Lady. They do a ton of damage here. She will get locked down here. Warbeast finishes him off. He used his Shrunken Head right before his token went off. So now he's in trouble. Pulls over to the activate. There's the second Malphite. In the background, Dark Lady is immediately annihilated here. What's going on? Rhapsody's going to use that Void Talisman. And just like that, it's going to be a genocide almost. Pestilence, the last man standing. He poured it all the way back to base.
Yes, he did. He ran back and poured it straight out. And this is what I was talking about. They have that huge base defense, which is so hard to contest. Dark Lady there got respawned from the token, but instantly died again. Yeah. They just have too much superior lockdown and too big of an AoE. And Sync Esports, they just really don't have any way to save her. I mentioned how hard of a game this was for a Rhapsody, and that ultimate just isn't much of a factor in a game like this. Now, the Madman has a Shrunken Head completed, so does the Warbeast. Both these heroes can just sit on that Dark Lady and bring her down.
And they're going to take this defense tower out here. If they want, they can actually keep going for a little bit here. The only players that are going to be up are Parasite and Pestilence. Pestilence will jump here onto the Madman, but look at Magnus. He's ready to Lava Surge in. Pestilence going to lock down. Metamorphosis activated by War Beast here. He's going in again onto this, putting out so much damage.
And that's a
now.
crucial pickoff. Pestilence has no buyback. This could be more than one lane of racks. Actually, no, the tier 2 towers are up. So
Rhapsody doing what she can to kind of bait them off, but just like that, the opening is here for a counterplay. Lord Cell4 is coming in. Haxor's just now going to respawn, so they're going to fall back here. He had a buyback that whole time, but you can tell he didn't want to use it. Ultimately, they only lose a melee. Wasn't the right decision to not buy back here.
oh man, it's impossible to tell, but
It's not over yet. Slap going to jump in on top of Warbeast. Warbeast forced to use that shrunken head, but yeah, the Cell4's ultimate clearly going through there. And now Madman's going to be using his TP. Parasite jump on him. No, they're going to turn their attention back toward the other side.
yeah, and look here, Haxorn just ignores that middle wave entirely. Gonna pick up an invisibility rune here, chasing into the jungle. Wants that pickoff. This looks like a sync that's hungry for kills.
Yeah, there is a buyback on Warbeast if need be. Plenty of gold there.
Look at Hax up top. Oh no, there's a bound eye on the Pearl. This is the perfect pickoff.
Oh, the bound eye's gonna get dropped here, and now she won't be available for the next 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Fuzzy has a double ultimate in about 30 seconds. He has a single Malphus already available to him.
They want to abuse the fact that there isn't a double Malphus up. And oh man, this is so close on that timer. I hope they timed it, otherwise this could be a disaster for them.
20 more seconds. Incoming Magnus channeling that eruption. He gets no, why didn't he stun? Dark Lady got the shrunken head off. There's no damage going down there. Now the Malphus comes out. Warbeast activating that, but look at the Rhapsody. The boy Talisman, nobody can interrupt it. They used all of their abilities. Pestilence stunning here. Nobody really overcommitting though. Back and forth in the bottom lane. The ranged barracks is now going to fall. They're in pursuit, looking for finishing kills here, but the Pestilence going to jump back in. Dark Lady cleaning up the whole team. The second Malphus comes out, but there's nobody there to support it. We have no buybacks available on Warbeast this time, but Madman out of nowhere just gets a hat trick.
Yeah, I do believe Magnus bought back there. I don't know if the Warbeast also bought back, did he?
He bought back at the beginning.
Oh wow. So the middle lane range rack's also gonna go down. What an epic game so far.
So back and forth. The gold lead was literally just 11 gold. That's not gonna go.
I mean, resources mean nothing in this game right now.
But
this game is
it's
dead
also,
even.
It's so even, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Almost unbelievable there.
So Haxorn actually picked up an Assassin's Shroud before that fight. I just don't feel like, is this the item for them this game? Does he believe that, a pickoff could be such a game changer if they're able to get it, and he definitely has the damage to pretty much kill anyone. We saw that in that fight. Mickey landed a triple stun, and Haxorn's follow-up was like, boom,
they were gone.
Dead. But right now, dude, that 5-second shrunken head, it's kind of hurting him.
That could have gone so much better from Complexity too. Watching the Magnus ult in and not stunning Dark Lady.
Yeah, the fast reactions from Haxorn.
It was such a delay.
Combination of both.
Yeah. I don't know. Magnus though, look at his positioning. He has his ultimate coming up in a second here. But unfortunately, Sulfur is not the target you want to go for. But very quickly, back into a game here. Parasite's also got to be careful. There's a Madman sucking through with a haste rune.
And do you know what we haven't been talking about at all? This Madman. He's been so silently just getting item
like
after
ghost.
item after item, and now he has a wing bow. And look at the GPMs. What was once a 650 GPM Haxorn and a 300 GPM Formless, he is slowly working his way back there, making sure he doesn't die in the team fights, getting kills, and just playing as smart as he possibly can, making sure that he's farming all the time. And I honestly feel like, even though Hax is ahead in farm, Complexity's position is so much more comfortable for them.
Yeah, I mean, now it comes down to the team fight, really. And it's much easier for Hellborn to set up. You have the Hellbringer, double Hellbringer ultimate. There's nobody that comes close to that. And to get him, getting him at this point in the game is hard sometimes, but he's here now.
Yep, and Warbeast, I love this pickup. He's going for that Soul's Bulwark. He's hopefully building.
Pearl ultimate is going to be useful if she survives so long enough to cast it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If she can get it off, it forces Sync to commit into it, and look at that lineup that they have. You don't want to commit into a Hellbringer, Magnus, Madman with a Cleaver, and a freaking Warbeast that's this farm.
Congore's respawning here in a minute. You got to think complexity of this, they can't give it up for free again, right?
I feel like this is going to be a very crucial fight, potentially even the fight that ends the series. Whoever wins that fight is probably going to have a massive advantage.
So much on the line right now. I gotta think. Now there's a portal key picked up on Hellbringer. He doesn't want to die before he gets that double ultimate off. Or that's it. That's
oh, Madman's got by Parasite. But he just turns it around and takes Zibe out, pops that Shrunken Head, and just mans up and secures that kill. Not sure what Zibe was thinking there. Completely alone on the map.
Now they have an open opportunity for Kongor here, no?
Yeah, most definitely. I don't see Sync defending this. Zibe has no buyback. They're probably going to wait for a better fight. They know they can't take this fight. And honestly, this looks like it's Complexity's game to lose now. Sync definitely been in the driver's seat for the majority of this game, but at this point, Madman finished up that Shrunken. I mentioned this. He gets that next item. I thought it would be a Brutalizer. He went all the way for a Wing Bow. Now they are so hard to kill. They are outputting so much damage. And Complexity.
Fuzzy will get his abilities off. Magnus most likely will get his abilities off. This is rough. This is very scary if you're Sync Esports. I know we think so highly of them, and they've come back from a lot of stunning things, but that's asking a lot right now.
Yeah, this would be probably one of the most impressive wins, I feel, if they could turn this game around. It takes a lot. I mean, looking at the two teams, you look at the base defense that they have. Sync really does not have that kind of a base defense that Complexity's putting up. When you go towards that Complexity base, there's so many ultimates that you have to account for. And the double resto from Hellbringer, it just shuts you down at the ports. And Magnus is... So basically what Hellbringer does is it allows you to reset all of your heroes. When Magnus commits in and then the Hellbringer ult pops, it allows Magnus to just freely run back, get ready for his next stun, and try to line it up again. So with Sync, you don't really have that. When Pestilence commits, there's no one that can bail him out. Once they're in, they're in. They have to keep fighting.
Dark Lady ult's the closest thing, and that's not going to be it. It's not going to be enough most of the time.
Honestly, an amazing Dark Lady ultimate could allow them to do that. Haxorn, since picking up the Shroud, I haven't seen him split off from his team a single time to go try to look for a pickoff. Just, I feel like maybe even sell that Shroud and get something else at this point.
So any other noteworthy item picks up. Madman's just saving up a bunch of money. He's got 3,500 here. War Beast too. I mean, you could easily sell the Yogg-Bones and finish that Demonic if you wanted, but they've done it well so far, so.
I feel like if I'm Haxorn right now, you know, the buyback is a big deal, but I think the Wing Bow's, he needs a Wing Bow. There's no way he can team fight without that item at this point. There are no Savage Maces on the Hellborn side, and he is dealing damage. That's not the problem for him right now. He just needs to survive these fights. And with the with the 5-second Shrunken Head, which it still is. No, it's 6 actually. So with a 6-second Shrunken Head and nothing else to keep him alive in fights, I just don't see it happening.
What item would you get rid of? Well, he got the Assassin Shroud.
Yeah, I would drop the Assassin Shroud for a Wing Bow if I were him. Yeah, it's no buyback. Yes, it's a big risk. But at this point, I feel like, yeah, if you buy back and your team's dead already, it's not going to matter anyhow.
Well, maybe then using that to their advantage, would it be worthwhile to kind of just throw the Dark Lady out, let her die, try to get them to overcommit, and then come back in with the support?
I mean, it's definitely an option. He now has the Genjuro, and this is a big upgrade to the Assassin's Shroud. When you only have the Assassin's Shroud, the item isn't that great, but once it becomes a fully completed Genjuro, it's actually a significantly better item. As Zibe in the middle lane might be in trouble, Madman's going to initiate onto his creep, but he blinks straight out of there. Quick fingers from Zibe.
Zibe leveled up the Codex. I just noticed that too.
Yeah, probably just looking to burst down the Hellbringer before he gets his stuff off. He's only sitting at 1400 HP. There are no vestments on him.
But the PK, though, I mean, he's going to be so far back. It can almost stand like 5,000, 6,000 units away and still get his ult off perfectly.
I love that item pickup by Fuzzy Claw.
Yeah.
It's really, really smart. So yeah, if you're Complexity right now, I just want you to farm out that token. You're not forced to do anything. Just keep picking up major items on your heroes. Their top base tower is actually going to go down to the creep. It's been sloppy, but honestly, it does not matter too much at this point.
Yeah, they're all watching the map right now, watching the Hellhounds and trying to find what they can. But the token here is going to expire in 90 seconds, or 70 seconds, actually.
Yeah, like I said, you don't need to use that token. They should not feel pressured by that timer at all. Warbeast has finished up that Demonic Breastplate. His bash per hit percentage is going to be so incredibly high right now. And Madman is sitting at 5,200 gold, probably going to farm buyback plus an item before he decides to go for something. Knowing
I don't think
Formless,
Sync ever pushes though against this team.
I don't think they can.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I mean. Complexity should get everything they want and then go for a push. There's no reason to take any risks at all. But knowing Formless, I think his next item is probably going to be Symbol of Rage. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, or Staff.
Or Staff. All right, so they want to use that token.
Wow, look at Madman. He takes a lot of damage from that level 5 Codex. And here he's got to be careful. Only 27 seconds on there. In the background, there's a little bit of jump. Wait, Malphus was used?
Not sure what happened right there. I don't know if Mickey went in and... No, his blink is off cooldown. Not sure what the Malphus was used for.
Hey, they're going to have to reset here.
Dark Lady running up with her Genjuro. Looking for a potential pickoff. Not going to find it, though.
But, I mean, now they got one Malphus done with, and a token's gone.
But there's no way that they can push, even though it's only one Malphus. At this point of the game, they have so much to deal with. It's not only the Hellbringer anymore. Now the Madman is a huge presence.
When will they ever be able to push?
For Sync, they need a pickoff. The best way for them to come back into this game is now Haxter and Skinjuro. I feel like the time when they can teamfight is actually just over. Like you mentioned, it's not like they can ever push. They need a token of life. They need a pickoff. They need something to give them an advantage going into a fight. So I'm pretty sure Haxton's reasoning for going to Shroud was that he felt like they were in that situation earlier than I did. And now he's going to go for the Genjuro, just try to look for kills. And basically, this is our way back into this game because they're not farming. Very few of their heroes are still trying to farm gold. If you look at how they're running around the map, Mick is basically just running around looking for pickoffs.
Yeah.
He's been dropping in GPM ever since maybe the minute 15 mark in this game.
It's very true. They didn't find many pickoffs, you could tell. I mean, 47 minutes in, barely over 30 kills, so...
Yeah, and look at Madman's inventory. You were right. He picks up that Staff of the Master. Just going to allow him to pretty much wipe out Sync's team without them being able to do much about him.
Yep.
If he's able to stay on target, of course.
Yeah, sometimes it's tricky. Sometimes, you know, without the lockdown, Madman not the best, especially without a Brutalizer.
So his reasoning for going Nullfire Blade, we haven't talked about this at all, but it's a very, very powerful item against Dark Lady. Both of her steroids, the charge in, attack speed, and the Dark Blades are both purgeable by a Diffusal Blade. So having that purge is a huge deal against that Dark Lady. If he's able to get her off on her when she doesn't have a shrunken head, all of her damage is gone. All of her attack speed is gone.
It's still, when it when it comes to it, if it needs another item, that's going to be the one to go, do you think? Or ultimately we'll say hang on to it.
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? I didn't hear what you said.
That whirly bubble too, yeah.
No, the tie.
Oh! Okay, another pickoff on a Parasite here. No, I was going to say, if he has to decide when it's time to replace an item with like a Savage or something, will he then
most probably
the
will be the most probably will be the Nullfire that gets dropped. At this point in the game, it's not as impactful as it probably has been in the previous stage.
Look at Bound Eye on Magnus moving in the direction of the Dark Lady here.
Yeah.
The Hellhounds were scouting out Pestilence. They're going to get sight of him again. Magnus might catch both of them here. Oh my god.
Oh my god, what a stun!
But he's not going to go any further. Here's the rotation. Batman's coming to join the party. Pestilence. They're going to sacrifice Pestilence, but Dark Lady's going to get away here. I really thought that was going to be the end of all things to come.
Oh man, Mickey has no buyback though. This is actually the better of the two kills, unknowingly for Complexity, honestly, of course. But no buyback for 65 seconds. I would be very surprised if they didn't try to at least force it. They know they have the buybacks left on Madman. He can get buyback twice here, so just have Madman get up on that tower and siege. Warbeast also sitting on a buyback. This is going to be racks for them.
This tower's going to drop so fast too. Oh my. Did he blink? Because it's gone now. Now they can make their way onto the barracks here. We see a port coming back in. Saltforce comes in, putting out the auto attack damage in there. But look at Saltforce is immediately gone. Madman here. Even if he goes down, he still has that staff effect to worry about. There it goes just like that. The barracks are now down.
Complexity just needs to play objective gaming here. Reset back, regen up your HP. You have that Abyssal Skull on Warbeast. Allow him to heal up the Madman as he's going to get
Dark Lady's going to jump here, going for an active inspiration out of Warbeast. Look at the back procs. Wow, Dark Lady will eventually finish him off here. Parasite wants a clean kill on the Madman, but he will stalk away. Hellbringer more than happy to join the party here. Throws out the Q spell onto Parasite here. They will use the Malphus, realizing that, yeah, one hero less to deal with. Down to the bottom, Magma's going to be focused on by the Dark Lady. Use the second Malphus. Madman's going down to the Dark Lady. The Rhapsody ultimate keeping him alive for the time being. Dark Lady goes down to the Magma stun, and that's it. There's 4 heroes down to last man standing. They have buybacks for every single hero.
Every single hero that's dead right now have buybacks. That's a double Hellbringer ultimate committed. If you're
Buyback
Complexity right now, you need to play this careful. I want them to region up with this Madman. Do not push the base with low HPs. You're not aware if they have buybacks or not. This is a huge risk for them to take.
That is very risky. They could instantly turn a fight and turn around and push themselves. Madman's going to push the base anyways. He will fall back here. They see ports coming in. They should see the buybacks. Salforce comes first.
Oh, what a Star Spirit!
No stun comes off. The Magnus Lava Surge comes out. What is this? Complexity's doing it. Lower Salforce going to be jumped in. Dark Lady comes in. She does a ton of damage, but Madman's still alive.
The double stun from the Magnus, and now Sib is in trouble. Haxor is down. Hax buys back again.
Orbeez, can he get the Salforce tablets in there? The second buyback, the last buyback from the Dark Lady, but it is that Mega Creeps.
That is the Mega Creeps. They played the objective game and got those Megas, and now they can just fall back. They have their buybacks to rely on. Formless is actually buying back. He buys back, picks up post haste.
Condor
I'm
spawning
not sure
in 10
this.
seconds. I mean, maybe that's something to do with it.
Oh yeah, that could definitely be a big deal. They don't want to give that Dark Lady a token.
Oh my god, she used the Charging Strike. Madman goes down. He's got 8,000 gold in his pocket. If he needs to buy back, but...
Look at the buybacks. Warbeast is completely out. Did he buy back and die that fight?
I guess he did, yeah.
Oh.
He bought back post, hasted in, and then died.
Did you see what Haxorn just picked up?
Doombringer.
They're playing for a Doombringer at this LAN event, and he's going to pick it up into his inventory. Oh, man.
I don't believe it here.
Look at the hairs on my fucking arms. They're standing up.
Oh, my God. It's true. He's not lying.
Oh.
But this Madman, when he picks up the staff, with the staff and the
he's going to drop that Nullfire Blade, surely, for that token of life. And Sync, they're not here to fight. They're not in a position to fight this. Bound Eye still on the ground. Pestilence is running in. They want to go for this.
Oh my god, the token of life's still on the ground. They're going to get the kill off there. Nobody picked it up. Madman will man up here. Madman goes down.
Pesty has the token.
Pesty
making up the token.
Of life, but look at Madman. Life after death. The Doombringer's now on the ground.
He picks it up.
He picks up the Doombringer, but eventually it's going to fall right back to the ground. Parasite will pick it up.
Oh my god. Parasite as a Doombringer did not allow for the Pestilence to pick it up. He has that token of life. Can Sync do anything with this? Dark Lady has no buybacks left. Madman still has one.
I can't believe that token jacked right there. Why did nobody on Complexity grab it? They waited so long.
The triple stun from Mickey there right afterwards. Yeah, I can't believe. They were probably just still discussing it, not expecting Sync to make a defense there.
Well, now the Doombringer in the hands of Parasite. They can't give it back to Dark Lady.
They've changed it, right? So you can't die to creeps anymore either.
You have to die to a hero.
Oh, wow. And this Parasite, he can't utilize that Doombringer at all.
No,
he has no attack speed.
It's wasted on him.
Oh, wow. This is such a rough game for Sync Esports right now, but honestly, any sort of misplay at this point, and you can get back into this game. The racks are exposed up top. Mid lane is just a tier 3 tower. They don't mean that much at this point in the game.
No. I mean, Dark Lady can shred through that, but it would
these
take
Megas,
winning a team fight. There's buyback available on Madman. He's not going to be buying another item, so...
Yeah, and look at these Mega Creeps. Sync just don't have the reason, like, they don't have the tools to deal with them.
This tower is going down. Now Dark Lady's back up. They should have a... This is bad news.
I just don't see how Sync's going to win this game. For Complexity, it's all about just playing the objectives, push in the lanes, play this game slowly. They're not in a rush.
Right.
You know, you're not getting any gold from these Mega Creeps.
They weren't in a rush a moment ago, and look where we are now. The nerves are very high. The pressure is insane right now.
I mean, if you're Complexity, I really feel like...
double damage top.
Oh, wow. That is a big deal. I want them to buy a bottle on the Pearl here. Hopefully she will. If they communicate that double damage rune and give it to the Madman outside of the base.
It's just going to pick it on up here.
All right. That means they're going to go for this death push.
I mean, Madman is going to attack so fast. We don't know if they have a fortification. I imagine they don't. Or they might have used it to save those tier 2 or
no,
tier 4s.
I think they should have the fortification up. There's no reason to use it unless the Madman's hitting the racks. And I can only imagine what Sync feels when they see that double damage Madman hitting the creeps in middle lane. But it looks like Complexity, they don't want to commit for this.
No,
I would have liked to see them bottle that up. Yeah, they should have bottled up that DD rune, kept it for their base push, and just farmed out the map, made sure all the lanes are pushed in. And once Sync has a bunch of creeps sieging on them in the base, and they're split up, one hero bottom, maybe two heroes top, then you go for that push, and you try to just go for the objectives.
Yeah, I mean, if you jump the Dark Lady, that's the game.
Surely they are aware of the buyback situation here for Sync. So,
Yeah.
man, what a intense game. Who would have expected this? The way these games have started and ended, it's been so back and forth.
Yeah, it couldn't be much more. There's another Sheepstick now on Hellbringer and on the War Beast.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if you're Complexity, you just have no reason to do anything. Just wait, play this game slow, try to get wards up, get control of the map, and just wait for Sync to have a misstep. Just keep pushing in those lanes, try to farm up as many items as possible. Oscar could still get 6 slotted. Madman has a 9-second BKB. Drop that and get a 10-second one. There's no reason to have anything that's not luxury.
Yeah. Well, 9 versus 10.
I mean, in my opinion, he could even drop the Nullfire Blade for Savage Mace, but he should farm it. He should farm a buyback before that. They don't need to take any risks whatsoever at this point in the game.
They're doing a little bit of de-warding here. They're going to take this one out. They've got 2 Bound Eyes now pumping through, making sure they've got everything cut down. You see Serenia's got the map up here, but this is the thing. They've got all the 3 lanes pushed now.
Yeah, the creep waves are in perfect position for them to go in now.
Used the charging strikes, and we might see Madman just go right on the tower. He needs to beat out the fortification right now. Look at that, just like that. They're going to kill Pestilence. He had the token, though. There's the fortification. Now we're going to see it. Dark Lady comes in. The first Malphus comes out of the Dark Lady. She's still going. Rapid's going to get on the second Malphus ultimate. Dark Lady's going down. Madman, even if he dies like he just did, he's still got
the throne is dead.
The throne is down, and Complexity Gaming will move on to the grand finals.
Oh my God, what an amazing game in the semifinals here.
What an end to the series here.
Oh, you couldn't ask for a better game.
They pull out the Doombringer. They came so close there. Down to the token being dropped.
And look at Complexity. Look at they're not even happy at this point. They're just relieved.
They're probably just as amazed too as of what just transpired here.
Oh man, huge applause to both competitors. Both these teams played so well in the semifinals.
I can't believe what I've just seen here. Yeah.
Man, we're all here to watch Amazing Han, and that truly was an amazing game to watch. What a great semifinal.
I'm still just kind of absorbing it all in, man. My hairs aren't standing up, but like I'm feeling it too. That was so insane here. I mean, we've said so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was an amazing game. I honestly, you started seeing when Sync kind of slowed it down. Hopefully we got some highlights coming up here so we can look at actually what happened in that game.
Yeah, I mean, there was so many pivotal moments shifting back and forth the lead, and from the whole series it felt that way, that you never knew whether it was like a sure thing or not. So we started off early, 4 minutes into the game here, with some ganks onto War Beast. They really shut the War Beast down. Zibe in the early game was a force to be reckoned with, and we saw. Yeah.
And Sync really, they had the early game control here, and they were just making they made the better decisions as long as they were in the early game. But we saw this in the first series as well.
Yeah, that's when the Dark Lady became a force to be reckoned with. But I want to see what happened to Zlapt here, because they kind of just, all right, he sensed the Magma's coming, I guess, and he fell back.
He's playing very defensively in this fight, actually. But also, if you looked at that Dark Lady, overextended here. And now, this is one of the better fights, I do believe, for Complexity. This is the first time when they turned it around and really repelled Sync from pushing into their base. And this is what I was talking about. They have such a great base defense with those abilities.
Yeah, and I mean, Sync knew that, but they had to make an attempt there. At one point, I guess they didn't have to, but they did, and yeah, just like that. Here was another big fight coming out. Dark Lady cleans up on there. They take the Bound Eye out. It's looking good, but the Magmas comes in. The Lava Surge misses completely, and the Eruption does practically nothing. This looked like Sync was off to a great start, but then the Malphus. This was a nice Rhapsody ultimate, too, keeping things mixed up a bit, but again, just so much damage. Madman coming into these fights here. Yeah, this is where the surprise Madman comes out with the hat trick, I believe. That was a huge Pestilence Stun. The Dark Lady still had power at this point.
Yeah, and the Restoration Stone was on cooldown from the Hellbringer, and it just came off cooldown at the perfect time.
Okay, and allowed Madman to just clean things up a bit here. Another fight happened over the top lane here.
Yeah.
Not sure about the timing, but yeah, this was close to the end here.
Yeah, I feel like at this point you could feel the desperation in Sync's gameplay, and That Storm Spirit was so massive,
It's like
making
every
sure that
one of
Mickey did
these.
nothing.
Every one of these is like a freaking montage play, man.
I feel like you could just make a highlights reel of just this game. Like we're seeing right now, there were so many high-level moments. You know, Pestilence, Magnus obviously clicked his Storm Spirit on the Pesty before he blinked in, and
Yep. And there
Oh,
was the
man.
second buyback used by Haxor in here.
right.
And
then
then,
this
boom,
is
the
Conga
Pestilence comes
fight.
in, steals the token, and
The
this is
staff
one thing-
Dark Lady, I mean,
yeah.
staff Madman really wins them this engagement. If Dark Lady still had that Doombringer, surely they would have gone and pushed for the base here.
And look at her getting the diffusal blade, the nullfire blade.
And the final moment here, the Glyph being forced out fairly early. Madman, the only hero hitting the tower, and at this point, it's just objectives. They actually should just stun. They realize it halfway through that, you know what, Throne is dying, and they stop targeting heroes, and they start going for the Throne, I do believe.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do there. Even if you kill the Madman, without a fortification, he's going to actually just attack the throne.
Right.
And you can't stop it. So, I mean, ultimately there, it was just it's just too much to deal with. But talking about selling the Nullfire, Dark Lady might have got away with the Doombringer if Madman didn't have that Nullfire.
Yeah, right.
She was stuck in place, couldn't
Obviously,
get out.
you would replace that Nullfire with another item like the Savage Mace or
Right.
potentially the Basher. So, yeah, it's a good point that you're making. But at the end of the day, you know, I think you could have replaced that for something else.
Yeah, absolutely. There, regardless of the fact, the itemization was perfect. I mean, if we even look at it here,
Hey, man, you can't question them after a game like
you
that.
can't.
With gameplay like that, they definitely made all of their items work. I feel like, again, Sync didn't play poorly. It wasn't that Sync underperformed.
Not
But
at
once
all.
again, once it got to that late stage, in the late game,
Sync made
Complexity
that-
just played so
Sync
well.
made that an exciting game.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
and down to the last drop with that Doombringer, somehow ended up on Oscar's hands. But yeah, kind of just still in awe. So Complexity will move on to the
Yeah.
grand finals to face MRR.
MRR versus Complexity. Last year we had BMG versus Complexity. Hopefully Complexity can defend the NAEU title. MRR looking to take out yet another NAEU team in the finals.
Only can hope here, and the excitement I didn't even get to, not even a single time.
Just play it for us in this last moment. You've been playing plenty of flutes here in Thailand.
We're gonna go for it here.
Lost.
As you can see, Axer in here.
Do you want to say anything to the stream?
We fucking suck.
Nah, man, you played your
None of
hearts
us
out.
over here in the casting booth, in the Twitch chat, feel that way. Haxerin, you guys played amazing.
You did.
I mean, honestly, we're here for good Han.
We are.
And I think that was amazing gameplay from both sides.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't wait to like watch that again. I
Relive that moment.
I do, yeah. I
Where
think
were
it's gonna
you?
go
Where
down
were
in
you?
history, like that
Where
was
were
such
you?
an amazing game. I don't know how you top that. I mean, going to the grand finals, there's a lot on the line, but to me, I don't know if it gets better than that. I
Yeah.
have to wait and see, but
Somehow.
everybody who watched that is a winner. You just got the greatest prize in,
Like-
in your life.
I have to say this, you know, when I lost, and I apologize to all you guys that don't want me to talk about myself, but when we lost last year in the group stages, it was such a disappointment. But if I'm Sync right now, I would walk out of those booths with my head held high, knowing that I played extremely well, and I made all my fans proud.
I think these guys do have their heads held high with great reason. I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there who doesn't have serious respect for these guys and what they did here today.
Yeah. No, I
I don't know. Are we gonna have some like kind of talking with them or something like that? I think we should go
mean,
to
I could
just a
ask
quick
if
break.
you want. Yeah, let's take a quick break, and
we'll be back
be back.
with some more coverage to see what's going on here, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We still got the grand finals that is happening today, very shortly here, so you're not gonna want to miss that. But thanks for joining us. And
Who's
we'll be
playing
back
there
soon.
again?
Who's playing? Do you know?
Complexity Gaming versus?
MRR. Neolution Esports MRR to be exact. You don't want to miss it, guys. We'll be back in a bit. We'll be back in a bit.
And we're gone.